afternoon. Welcome viewers to our continuing discussion on IR theory. Till now we have discussed the realist theory and its various aspects. Basically, the realist theory believes in, it has a pessimistic view of human nature. It has a conviction that international relations is basically conflictual, that states are the main player and there is anarchy in the international system, that national security and survival are the main concern of the states, together with acquisition and possession of power. Realism also believes that international politics is power politics. It's a contest for power, for influence. There is no higher authority than the states. The states are the final arbiter of their own interest and actions. There is no world government. But states are not equal. There is a hierarchy of power. Some states are more powerful, some are less powerful, and there is a struggle between great powers for security, for domination, for influence, and national interest is the final arbiter of foreign policy of all states. That treaties, conventions, customs, rules, laws, these are expedient arrangement between the states, which states can follow and depending on their understanding and interest may also violate. So basically it says that there is no progressive change possible in international politics, in world politics. So that was realism. On the other hand, liberalism has a positive view of human nature. Liberalism believes that individuals may be self-interested, may be competitive, but they can also come together, collaborate and cooperate for their common interest, for social action. There is a conviction, therefore, that international relations can be cooperative. There is a belief in progress, in the possibility of progress. There is faith in human reason. And in the emergence of liberalism, one can clearly see the influence of many developments that took place in Europe from 16th century onwards, including Renaissance, Reformation, emergence of nation states, overseas trade, growing prosperity in Europe due to commercial revolution and later on due to industrial revolution, and then of course age of enlightenment. There were movements in Europe for individual rights, for natural rights, for a limited government, for constitutional government, for limited monarchy, for elected assemblies, and above all for individual rights. So in this situation, the liberal internationalists, they believe that transnational ties between societies, individuals and groups leads to greater interdependence, greater economic ties, and can lead to organized cooperation between states. There were various types of liberal thought or thinkers. There were Republican liberals who basically believed in democratic governments which promote peace and cooperation. The basic liberal assumption is in the potential for human progress, that modernization and scientific revolution can basically lead to more efficient production, and that will lead to greater prosperity, increased production and greater prosperity, which is the core of capitalist economy. So material welfare becomes possible, and based on material welfare and increasing role of the individual, modern civil society comes into being, which is based on individual liberty. There was a liberal intellectual revolution based on principle of rationality. The modern liberal state basically guarantees individual liberty. State as a constitutional entity based on a set of rules, constitutional and legal rules. And the main function of such constitutional state is to protect life, liberty and property of the individual. Natural rights theory was propagated and propounded and promoted during 17th and 18th century, starting with John Locke, and subsequently in the early 19th century, Jeremy Bentham championed the motto of greatest happiness of greatest number. The liberal theory believes that conflict and war are not inevitable, that states are capable of mutually beneficial cooperation. So, core of liberalism is individualism, that man is the measure of all things, that individual's well-being, individual's problem, individual's rights and liberties, these should be the core concern of the state, of political activity. That happiness and contentment of the individual is the foremost objective of organized political activity of all states. That the individual should be free from authoritarian government. Government should be based on the consent of the individual, social contract or whatever, but basically responsible to the individual. There is a belief that constitutional states respect each other, that rational interest of constitutional states make them adhere to international law. This was given by Jeremy Bentham. Immanuel Kant, another very important late 18th, early 19th century thinker, who talks about republican peace, who says that if more and more states become democratic, become republics, that would lead to the establishment of perpetual peace. One school of liberalism is called sociological liberalism, which we have already discussed, which believes that international relations is not about state-state relations. There are transnational relations between people and between groups and organizations, and that people are cooperative. It basically supports peace among states, among governments. Karl Dusch comes out with his security community theory. Similarly, John Burton talks about world society. He talks about cobweb model, where he says that individuals are members of many groups, and so this overlapping membership of many groups reduces or minimizes the risk of conflict among these groups. Similarly, John Burton talks about world society, again the same overlapping membership and how it minimizes risk of conflict. There is James Rosenau, which talks about increased micro-level transaction. He says that with better education, with electronic means of communication, and with increasing frequency of foreign travel, people meet with each other more, and they come together to resolve new issues, common concerns like environment, like the currency crises, uh, problems, or rather diseases like AIDS or drugs related problems, international terrorism. So these are common concerns affecting people cutting across states, and it brings them together. Then there is information technology revolution, which has made it possible for people and politicians to participate, and in this the people take the lead. The politicians rather follow the people. There is Phil Cerny, which talks about transformation and reconstruction of statehood. Uh, he says that driving force will be transnationality, linked groups, or engaging in competition, but at the same time in collision building. There will be a new type of power games in which these various groups they do compete with each other, but they also come together, create collisions. So the very nature of power game has changed. New type of networks emerge. These networks at times can be competitive, but they can also be cooperative. Some of these networks or groups can be hegemonic, and some may be more prone to conflict. So possibility of conflict is there, together with possibility of cooperation, of collision building, of bargaining, and coming together for common ends and interests. There is interdependence realism, which basically talks about modernization and industrialization, which believes that with greater modernization and industrialization, with greater economic development and increasing foreign trade, there will be high division of labor among different states. Some states will be specializing on certain type of economic activities, whereas other states might be dependent on other. For example, some would be exporting their natural resources, while others will be into manufacturing. Some will mainly focus on trade and commerce, and the success of trading states like Japan and Germany proves that this division of labor can help states to become prosperous. The high military expenditure of states is definitely a hindrance to international cooperation, to greater prosperity of the states. But there is also a belief that wars are more likely in less developed countries. The more developed countries like those in Europe or North America, they will not like to go for war, because it will greatly hinder, hamper their prosperity. But ultimately, military conflicts and military option, arms race, they remain there. So, although these possibilities are there of modernization, industrialization, greater economic development, of division of labor, certain states basically going into manufacturing and trading and gaining prosperity, but that doesn't mean that the risk and the possibility of military conflict, of war or arms race goes forever. There is David Mithrani, who has given functionalist theory of integration, So integration is one important feature that liberals focus. Basically, they say that economic interdependence will lead to greater political integration and peace. When people realize that by coming together by greater economic cooperation and interdependence, they can avoid war. That will lead to greater legitimacy for integration, for cooperation. David Methrani basically believes that technical experts will play a very pivotal role in this interdependence and integration. And these technical experts will lead in the field of transport, communication, information technology, and because of their positive contribution, the possibility of integration, the possibility of economic interdependence, and flowing from it, the possibility of peace will grow. Another important theorist is Ernest Haas, who has given neo-functionalist theory of international integration. He gives the example of Europe, which is the best model for international integration or regional cooperation. Political actors, Haas basically says that political actors continue to play important roles. So, in place of Mithrani's belief or his faith in technical experts who lead cooperation, Ernest Haas says that political actors continue to play an important role. They shift their loyalty towards a new center of power, for example, the European Union, and they agree to transfer some of their power and authority to this common center because it is for the benefit of all member states. He also talks about, Haas talks about spillover. He says that the benefits of cooperation in one area leads to cooperation in other areas. So maybe initially the European states came together for coal and steel to cooperate in the field of coal and steel, which are so important for modern industrialization. But once they taste success in certain areas of cooperation, that leads them to even more areas in which they go for cooperation. So, theory of regional integration is very important, but it is to be subordinated to a general theory of interdependence. So, interdependence is not limited to one field, but it is much more inclusive. It is much more comprehensive. During the during 1950s and 60s, for a time, European integration, especially in the field of coal and steel, it saw some success, but subsequently during 1970s, there were clear obstacles in the way of European integration. It was only after the end of the Cold War, with the end of Soviet Union, Soviet dissolution, and in 1990s, the European integration took a substantively greater leap with Treaty of Maastricht and other similar treaties. European integration basically during 1990s and subsequently saw greater heights. A core issue in these studies about integration is the concern whether integration is best explained by liberal or by neo-functionalist approach, or perhaps by realist approach, which emphasizes national interest. So various theories in their own way, they talk about greater integration. Robert Keohane and Joseph Nye are, I would say, the foremost theorists of regional cooperation, or rather of integration. They believe that earlier, during the Cold War period, high politics of security and survival was prioritized over the low politics of economic cooperation or social affairs. So that was the earlier times. But after 1990, during 90s and subsequently, they believe that a system of complex interdependence has come into being, where relations between states are not only relations between leaders, but there are many actors. These actors can be at the national level, these can be at the international level, and these actors, national or international, they all play a very important role in furthering the cause of interdependence. And from this follows Joseph Nye and Robert Keohane's theory of complex interdependence. They believe that in this system of complex interdependence, military conflicts, wars, they become less frequent, and use of force is less important, is less relevant. International relations become something like domestic politics. We know in domestic politics there are various issues, and depending on these issues, different coalitions are formed. These coalitions can be within the governments or cutting across governments. And these coalitions, they play a very important role both in domestic politics as well as in international politics. In these coalitions and complex interdependence, negotiating skills are very important. There are other factors, but especially negotiating skills when it comes to forming coalitions over different issues, negotiating skills come to play an important role. States become more preoccupied with low politics of welfare, of public good, and they talk less about the high politics of national security and survival. National security and survival do not go away, but there is importance of politics of welfare, politics of well-being of individuals. Friendly and cooperative relations between states leads to many beneficial impacts. States and transnational actors can be non-governmental organizations, NGOs, they can be transnational corporations, and they pursue different goals. And the goals that these transnational actors like NGOs and corporations pursue may be independent of the goal of states. So states pursue their own goals and objectives, while NGOs and transnational corporations, they pursue their own goals and objectives, and not necessarily influenced by the objectives of the states. Power or influence become very specific to issues. So power may still be important, but power to achieve cooperation in certain issues. The importance of international organizations increases, but the weak states, they also adopt their own strategy. They come together to form coalitions in order to pursue their common interest. So, complex interdependence became very influential, and it is basically practiced and pursued in countries which are more industrialized, which are pluralist. For example, those in Western Europe, North America, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. The importance of modernization and welfare state is very much there when we talk about complex interdependence. But at the same time, they don't say that realism is irrelevant. It remains relevant. It is not obsolete. Interdependence liberals are in fact more balanced, and they suggest a compromise. We will discuss some of these in our next lecture. Thank you very much.